I would like to go over question 4 in the assignment on physical environments. Just so that we're all clear on this, there's a couple of different types of questions in the weather topic, right? It does need you to be able to do a couple of different things. You need to know what this kind of chart is, right? This is a synoptic chart, okay? What that shows, these lines are called isobars. So anything in this space is the same air pressure. Anything in this space is the same air pressure. So look at that, 972, that's millibars. So everything in there is 972 millibars of air pressure. Now, if it's in the 900s, it's low pressure. If it's in the 1000s, like over 1020 or whatever, that's starting to get into high pressure. So basically this whole area is experiencing low pressure right now. Okay, the UK, Sweden, Finland, Denmark. So you kind of need to know that's what those things are. The second thing you need to rely on is your knowledge behind weather fronts. That is the warm front, and that is a cold front. And that's a cold front because it's those spiky, jaggy kind of fronts, or the rounded half circle fronts. Now, as soon as you hear the word front, you just think rain. They're basically bands of rain. What they're there to show you is that there's two different air masses in the picture, right? So in front, it's also the front. So anywhere behind this bumpy line is a warm air mass. So any air in here is a warm air mass. But we don't think, okay, it's roasting. We just think there's rain past and now it's the front of this air mass. Now this will be a warm and wet air mass. Okay. Also there's the cold air mass, which is this bit. So anything behind this one is cold air, and then here, cold air, because that front is there. So it's basically three different masses of air that are wet, pushing each other out the way, and they don't mix. Okay, because there's different air pressures. Just the way it is. All right. On the Met Office website, there's a good video, on our YouTube, of how the sort of different temperatures don't mix because the molecular structure is different. Like when we think of hot steam coming out of a kettle, and we think about water from the tap, like one's a liquid, one's a gas. It's that same sort of understanding. Okay. But how do I go about answering this question? Well, I use a couple of bits of knowledge. I use my understanding of air masses and fronts. I use my understanding of the passage of a depression. The passage of a depression will always look like that, right? A cold front, and it will have a warm front at the front, and it will always be that shape. See that sort of like triangle shape? It's always going to look like that. So as soon as you see that shape, it's the passage of a depression. Now, in the passage of a depression of different steps, there's like before the cold front hits at warm front, Then when the warm front hits, okay, which is like steady rain, then 3, you're in this warm sector. This warm sector basically means that clouds are starting to sort of drift apart and the air will be slightly warmer, okay, because you're in this warmer air mass. 4, as soon as you're on that, you get heavy rain and winds. Now the winds come because that cold front is going to push all that warm air upwards fast, very, very fast, because of the changes in air pressure. Like when you let air out of a balloon, okay, as soon as you let the air out of a balloon, it's going from sort of high to low pressure, right? You get strong winds and heavy rain. And then 5 is after the cold front is going to be colder, but the wind and the rain is going to calm down. So you need to know that a little bit about the passage of a depression. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk a wee bit about these two things. These two things here are the weather station circles. So what we're going to do in this answer for 4 marks is we're just going to basically walk through each element of the weather. We're going to first of all talk about, let me actually write that in black, sorry. We're going to talk about the temperature differences, and crucially we need to give reasons. So we need to say why. The is the temperature different? Then we're going to do the cloud cover. And why is it different? And then we're going to do wind. Why is it different? And then we're going to finish it off with precipitation. Okay, and why? For every one of them, if you can mention all those 4, then you're going to know, you're going to get full marks. Right, well, why did I know to hit those 4 marks? Well, when you have a weather station circle, you have a temperature, you have your octas in your cloud cover, okay, 1, or a corner's 2, and then a corner plus a line is 3. You add another one, it's 4. You add another line, it's 5. You add another corner, it's 6. Imagine like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bits of pizza. And then full is 8. And then if you have this whole bit here and you take away the sort of middle section, then you have 7, right? Let me just show you what that looks like. Alright, so that's 7. Then what you have is the wind direction, so whatever direction it's moving, east, north, south, whatever. And then a long line is 10, half a line would be 5, right? A tiny wee line would be 1, right? Octas, so that would be 16 octas. Then finally you put a dot or whatever, depending on if it's like a shower or a rainy shower or whatever. Okay, so you need to learn these symbols, alright? It's in the notes I've given you. So we're going to tackle each one of them to get full marks. So I'm not going to write it out, I'm just going to talk through it, and then you guys can sort of like work out an answer from there. Okay, so why is the temperature different from Belfast and Stockholm? So very quickly and very easily, you need to say that Belfast is in the warm sector of a depression, whereas Stockholm is behind a cold front and a cold air mass. That'll get you a mark. Cloud cover. Belfast is experiencing 8 octas of cloud cover. You can see because it's a fully blacked out circle. Stockholm is only experiencing 1 octa because it's just a line through it. This is because Belfast is in a depression and just had a warm front pass over, whereas Stockholm is experiencing high pressure, right? Because look, the isobars are far apart. Therefore, this indicates there is no clouds in the area. When you have low pressure, like in a depression, that must mean that there's clouds, because low pressure means rising air. High pressure means sinking air. When you think about high and low pressure means there's a lot of pressure on the ground because all these different gases, CO2 and nitrous oxide, oxygen, it's all pushing down. Whereas with this, you've got H2O, you've got the water vapour, like a kettle. When the water heats up, it's rising and condensing and forming clouds. So high and low pressure. So cloud cover. Stockholm's in high pressure because the isobars are further apart, therefore there's no clouds. Whereas Belfast is in the middle of a depression, a low pressure system, meaning there will be clouds. Alright? Wind. The wind is stronger in Belfast due to changes in air pressure, as Belfast has just went from being in a cold air mass to a warm air mass, and this changes in air pressure has caused strong winds. Okay, changes in air pressure has caused strong winds, as well as there's an approaching cold front. Precipitation. There is rain. Now just a dot means rain. It is raining in Belfast because Belfast is right on. See where that little dot is here? That's Belfast, and it's right next to that warm front right there. So Belfast is experiencing rainfall as it is on a warm front right now. Remember, frontal, any frontal stuff here, like that's the warm front there. What's happened here is the air here, and there's air here. Belfast is just sitting here right here. Okay, what has happened here is this has came along, and all this air has been shoved up by this warm air and formed clouds. And with the clouds, it has rained. Okay, so precipitation. It is rainy in Belfast as it is on a warm front. It is not raining in Stockholm as it is not near any fronts at all. And that should get you 4 marks for that answer. Again, any questions, let me know, but this sort of sums up the sort of weather topic. I know it's pretty difficult and there's a few skills involved, but by knowing your depressions and your weather circles, you should be fine. Okay, thank you.